I
The
think the
fuck?
Grizzlies are gonna be good again. People forgot about them because Ja lost his mind and went kind of MIA there, but now that he's back playing consistently, the Grizzlies are probably going to be formidable like they were.
Are they still in Vancouver?
Oh my God. No, no, sir. No. And Big Country Reeves is not playing the Hall of Fame. Okay. You said Brad Reeves patrolling the middle for them. Like, absolutely not.
See,
Damn, not in Vancouver.
that shows you how much I watch basketball. I
Sharif
don't even
Abdur-Rahim is not the power forward.
know.
Holy smokes. Vancouver. They was wearing those old uniforms the other day. Those joints is clean. They need to keep them.
Wait, what city did he move to?
Real Gen Z. Memphis.
Oh shit! Damn, so they back in America.
Yeah, Memphis Grizzlies.
Damn, I don't know who got it worse. You call the Giants or the
I don't either,
Jets?
man. I don't either. To be
We
honest, we both is pretty down bad right now. It's
we might
pretty
be fighting for a
skibbity.
quarterback.
It's pretty skibbity, as the kids would say.
Oh shit! They made that field goal. Shit, they got a kicker.
We lost
Who
one
was your
game literally because we didn't have a kicker.
Who
Literally.
who was your kicker now, Ant? Who was your kicker before? I'm trying to
Greg the
remember.
Leg?
Greg Zerline.
Greg
Oh,
Zerline.
Greg Zerline. Okay.
Yeah, for
He's
some
like
reason
40,
he
right?
don't. Yeah, but some reason he plays good one year and he sucks the next year. I don't know why the Jets didn't realize this shit.
Look at
Now he's play.
this.
Wait,
One
the
and six in
Giants.
MetLife. I think something's up with the stadium, man. I'm almost positive. They got to dig it up and see if there's some bones, a body under the stadium,
What
or
Giants
a
Stadium?
Cowboys jersey, a Patriots. Something is up at MetLife. It is
I,
ugly. Since what was that year
Well,
Seattle
how
won the
long has it
Super
been
Bowl?
MetLife? Because
No, no,
it
no.
was it
It
was
was
the
always MetLife.
Meadowlands. It was the
Now they ripped the
Meadowlands.
Meadowlands
yeah.
down, man. They
Oh,
ripped it
I
down.
missed the
They built
Meadowlands.
a
I
new
missed
stadium.
the. I really
But
missed
it's
the
in the
Meadowlands.
same, it's in the same spot, right? They
No, it's
just
not.
No,
It
it's
was
not
like
the
across
same
the street,
spot.
like some
It's
shit like
but
like,
it's
that.
like
yeah.
I mean the same general area. I'm not saying like
Right,
that haven't
right. So
moved. Yeah,
right, it's in the
it,
same general area, but it's not.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same, but it's not the exact same spot.
it's
It's
like
not
how
East
Yankee
It's like
Stadium.
Rutherford.
like a
It's
Yankee
like Yankee
Stadium, right?
Stadium. Yeah,
Yeah. When they
Yeah,
I
take
still
it,
miss
or,
the
or
old
even
Yankee Stadium
City
spot.
Field, like they just took Shea and then like moved it over, and they
yeah.
called it City. That's it.
But
Okay.
what was that year Seattle won? That was the year. The Super Bowl
Um.
was at MetLife that year.
Yeah, that was the first year at MetLife.
I
No,
think it
no, it was
was
before
because
that.
when
No,
we
it was
got
way
the
before that.
stadium, they put the Super Bowl in there, like not too
No, the
soon
Super
after
Bowl
that.
was afterwards. Super Bowl was a couple of years later. Let
Couple
me see.
years? Was it a couple?
Yeah. Let me find out.
So
One
You're
my,
right.
second.
my question was y'all playing in MetLife when y'all won the Super Bowl in 11?
No. No.
No,
That
No.
was
no.
Meadowlands. Okay.
This
came.
name's
Yeah.
cursed.
But
MetLife came
y'all but
after that.
but Ant, y'all played
Yeah, it was. It wasn't MetLife yet.
it was
It's
still Giant
2010.
Stadium at that time?
It's 2010.
So
2010
shit,
is
it was
MetLife.
so
So it was
shit.
MetLife. Y'all was
It
playing at
was
MetLife when y'all
MetLife
won the Super
then.
Yeah,
Bowl.
because the
Oh
original name was
wow.
the original name was the new Meadowlands Stadium.
Oh shit. I was MetLife 1 year into. I didn't know I did. Are you sure? Because I could
Yeah,
have
I'm looking
swore
at
we
it. It's on
didn't win.
Wikipedia. I'm on right now.
I
It's
mean,
just
it's got a Super Bowl. It's got a Super Bowl
Yeah,
win with
so
it.
it can't be cursed. It can't be cursed.
you know
Oh man.
you know it's real funny. Me and a couple of other people kept on saying this to all these Jets groups for people to wear paper bags over their heads, and these guys actually did this shit.
Yeah, it's starting to be a
Damn
thing now.
Jets.
And people actually doing this shit.
Mm,
Who I think the Saints originated that.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints
yeah.
fans
Was it the
originated that back in
Saints?
the 80s.
I think
I
so.
think it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
them back in the 80s.
Yeah, it was them. The Aints, right? The
The
Aints.
Aints. Yep.
This team can actually go down to be worse than that.
I don't know. When is the trade deadline for football? They keep talking about it. I keep thinking the past.
November 5th, I think.
Got it. Got it.
Oh, I might be wrong.
You might be confusing with election day.
Yeah, that's what I said. I might be wrong. Yeah, this is actually November 5th. I was right.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Uptown Parlay Podcast. I am your host, I'm Malik, and I have with me Anthony and Levon. What's going on, fellas?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
What's happening? What's going on?
What's going on? Nah, nothing much. Happy Halloween to y'all. Happy Halloween, to everybody listening. Did
Happy
y'all do any?
Halloween.
Did y'all deal with any trick or treaters today?
Nah, but I see I see a scary thing on TV right now. It's called my Jets, but that's about it.
Playing on Halloween. Levon, did you do any trick or treaters come by your house, Levon? During
Ain't that kind of neighborhood. Ain't that kind of neighborhood. It's no trick or treating
Okay.
going on. Not that kind anyway. Not
So if they
right
out
here.
at night, if they out at night by your crib, they ain't out there for no candy.
Get out there for what you want. Somebody out there knocking on the door. Bet that answer. If you do, you better be ready.
Yeah, I hear you,
Trick or
bro.
treat, hand over some home goods.
I hear you, bro. Yeah, they kicking the door down. They're not in there. They're not there to get no
That's
candy.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we just took our kids around, let them splurge on all of the candy and everything like that when there's a couple of neighborhoods. So everything's doing good. But on to the football, on to what we're watching right now. The Jets and the Texans are playing. It is 10-7
Rodgers almost got
Texans right
picked.
now. The Jets we're trying to drive. That was a horrible, I don't know. It was a horrible throw. Just
Yeah.
glad we didn't
Right
pick
in
this
the
game.
middle of the field. And whoever that was, goodness.
God,
That's the ball, sir.
glad we didn't pick this game, but it is a horror show right now going on in MetLife.
Yeah.
But last week, before we get into week 9 games, we can recap last week. We picked 15 games. Ace finished 8-7. Anthony finished 7-8. I finished 8-7. Both Ace and I were 3-3 on our best bets, and Anthony went 2-4. So hopefully you guys did well on your side as well. Now let's get into this week. So we've got Ace is not on today's show, but I already have his picks, so I'll announce his picks as we go through the games. So we'll get started. All right.
Don't worry, I'm giving y'all some breathing room. I'm gonna catch up. I should be catching up soon.
Thank you for that. Thank you. I am compiling the season statistics. I didn't announce them because obviously we only went through a couple of weeks, but next week I will go with the season stats so everybody will know where they are after weeks 8 and 9. Because we started this I started tracking this in week 8, even though we were making picks all season. I started tracking in week 8. So, and you don't have to worry about weeks 1 through 7. Just catch up from last week to this week, and you should be good.
Oh, so that's just like the what's the name? That's just like the what is it called? Preseason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how
Exactly.
these players are. We're getting into the groove right now. Using this
Exactly.
regular
So
season as the preseason.
So just like Aaron Rodgers, you didn't show up for the preseason, but you're here for the
Yeah.
real game now. That's right.
I'm in Egypt state of mind right now. I'm in Egypt right now.
Egypt.
All right, let's get started. Cowboys at Falcons, 1:00 on Sunday afternoon. The Falcons are 3-point favorite right now over the Cowboys. Over-under is 51.5. Ace has the Cowboys covering that number. I don't know if he has them winning, but he has them covering that number. And let's start with you. Cowboys at Falcons. What are you thinking?
Oh wow, 2 teams I would not want to pick at all. I think it was 2 weeks ago that I picked the Falcons and they disappointed me. I think they went back on the good side all of a sudden this week. I don't remember. I think they got last week. I mean,
Yeah, they won last week against Tampa.
Yeah, for some strange reason, I don't know what's happened. I think they're just doing that to screw with me. So I'm just gonna go with the Cowboys on this. I'm not even gonna touch them. Audience out there, maybe y'all guys can still go with the Falcons. Or these other 2 that's on with me might go with the Falcons because they're in the same state. So that might. I don't know, but anyway, I'm gonna stick with my state, represent my state. I'm gonna go with the Cowboys, and I'm gonna take the Cowboys and take the under.
I forget you're in Texas.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Yeah.
Levon, Cowboys, Falcons. I know you hate picking teams in your division, but go ahead.
I do hate picking teams in my division. I hate the Cowboys. But I did say 2 weeks ago I thought Atlanta was better than what they were getting credit for. And I picked them to win that week and they lost. And then they followed it up by beating Tampa Bay the following week. So I'm wondering if I should jinx them again by picking them to win this week. Because I do think they'll win. They're at home.
Ooh.
Dallas is not a good football team, and we should believe what they are telling us that they are. And Atlanta is a good football team this year, and they have all the momentum. Plus, they're at home. So I'm going to pick the Falcons in this game.
All right. Falcons. No lock, right?
Nah, no lock for that one.
Okay. All right, I'm going to roll with the Cowboys. A couple things here. Dak is one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL against pressure. Add that to the fact that the Cowboys are last in the NFL in rushing. And there's no wonder why this team is struggling on offense. However, The Falcons are dead last in the league in sacks, and they failed to despite winning last week, they failed to take down Baker Mayfield, even though he threw the ball 50 times. They did not record a sack or pressure in 50 dropbacks of Baker Mayfield. So that I don't even know how the hell they won. But anyway, Falcons can't rush the passer. That seems to be a problem that they've had for a number of years, not just this season. So the Cowboys should be able to take advantage at least on that on offense. Defensively, they can't score. Dallas is horrible. Micah Parsons is still not playing. And the Dallas Cowboys have not scored. Atlanta has scored 26 points in 4 of their last 5 games. The Cowboys have not reached 26 points in a game since week 1. So take that for what it's worth, and expect Atlanta to be able to run all over the Dallas defense. I expect points on both sides here. I think the best bet or the lock here is the over. But I say at this point, take any points that you're being given. I'll go with the Cowboys to cover the number. I don't think they'll win, but I'll go with them to cover the number. That's a great catch by Garrett Wilson, but it's not going to count.
No. Yeah, too bad. He looked almost like OBJ, or
he even looked like. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But it almost looked like from a side view, looked like almost like the Jordan symbol. If y'all
pretty dope, but he did not get that hip.
Get that foot.
Did not get that hip down.
I think the Kanye Peppers are starting kicking for Aaron Rodgers because the play before that, he started running out of nowhere. He just started running all over the place.
I mean, I don't know if I saw that play. It's got to be the knee, right?
The knee, the shin, whichever comes down first. The shin would count.
They say the shin is down. So if the shin counts, he's in. He's in. The shin hits. Did he challenge it or no? It's on the review.
It's on the review.
I thought all touchdowns were reviewed anyway.
Yeah, but it wasn't called a touchdown.
Oh, no, gotcha.
Yeah,
but they're still reviewing it right now anyway.
That shin is down.
He challenged it.
The shin is they did. The shin is down. It's down.
The shin is down when the knee is down.
But that's gonna be tough.
Down at the same time.
Down at the same time, and the knees out.
That was 2 plays right there. For some reason, like I said, the Kanye Peppers just kicked in for some reason. I'm actually gonna have to try that. It might be quite. A boy from Bermuda might be right. The Kanye Peppers, man.
These Kelsey brothers anymore.
The cayenne water.
Yeah, cayenne water. The trick might work. You saw the play before. Look, Aaron Rodgers was running like he was a young man.
It works for a lot of people. It does work for a lot of people. But I always say before you try any health routine, consult your physician first. Make sure they know, and then get their thoughts on it before you start doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, right. I'm definitely doing that. But anyway, back to our show.
All right, next game, Broncos at the Ravens. So the Broncos are looking pretty good. They won their last, I believe they've won their last 2 games now. And the Ravens are coming off of a surprising loss. I guess if you want to call it surprising, a division loss against the Cleveland Browns. Jameis Winston lit them up and sent them packing with a loss. So now the Ravens are back at home hosting the Broncos. The Broncos still have surprisingly the number 3 ranked defense in the NFL, and have been doing their thing on that side of the ball. Offensively, Bo Nix and the offense has been up and down to some degree, as you expect for a rookie quarterback. But it seems like they've been getting things together, and the Ravens defense just hasn't been that level of dominant that we've expected. So this game is 9.5 points to the Ravens at home, hosting the Broncos. Over-under is 45.5 points. Levon, let's start with you. What do you think?
This is going to be one of my locks. The Ravens are going to destroy Denver in this game. Denver is one of the most surprising teams. Who did they beat last week? Carolina, right?
Denver beat Carolina last week. Yep.
Yeah, no. They're going to get crushed. It's in Baltimore. They did just lose a heartbreaker to Cleveland, a team they would have beaten if Watson was QBing, but sometimes that shot in the arm, changing coaches, changing quarterbacks, does weird things to teams. So I can't believe they called that a touchdown. That's what you call home cooking.
Absolutely. Now at the very least, because they call it a touchdown, we get to see this replay for the rest of all time, because that's a fantastic catch.
That is the Jordan. He's right. That's the MJ right there. So
that's a fantastic catch that we now get to see, be compared to the
fact
OBJ
that they
catch.
said that this shin hit before this knee did.
Your shin does come down before it does.
Kind of. But that's
I just kind of hope that they wipe off that mitochondria thing so we never see that again.
by a
Yeah,
long
that sure
shot.
is. That sure is.
But yeah,
Woo.
I think Lamar and company will roll. This will be my first lock of the week. And yeah, give me the Ravens.
And
Yeah, I'm gonna go just the same like Levon. I'm not gonna make this a lock, but I think this is going to be a tough game. But this is last week's loss for the Ravens was more of a division type of reason, I believe, for that loss. This one, they at home, they can't, they need to start putting the foot on the gas again. But both teams are contrasted as far as their offense and defense, whatever, of how things matches up. So I'm going to think it's more of a closely tight game. I'm going to go with the Ravens and the under in this one.
yeah, I kind of like the Broncos just getting 9.5 points. I don't think they'll win the game. I wouldn't pick them to win the game. I wouldn't pick on the money line, but I kind of like them getting 9.5 points with that defense
Yeah, I
and
can see that.
what they have done over these last few weeks. And the Ravens defense hasn't given you any reason, haven't given me any reason to believe that they, can shut teams down and keep a team away from, from scoring in either in their house or on the road. It doesn't seem
You
to
called them,
matter.
Malik.
Yeah, I did, right?
Yep, they're already comparing it to OJ.
Oh,
OJ
yeah.
Beckham.
Yeah, they're going to be
That's
comparing that
obvious.
for a long time. A long time.
OBJ's was way better, but they're gonna do that.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so I'll roll with the Broncos here. I'm not locking it in because again, I don't like to lock in
Yeah,
lines
yeah. I'm
one way
looking
or
at it
the
now.
other. I don't like to lock in lines one way or the other over, when they're 8.5, 9.5 points. So I won't lock it in, but I do like the points here, and I'm gonna roll with Denver's defense being able to keep things relatively close and allow for Bo Nix and the offense to make some plays to keep it close. All right, next game we got the Bills taking on the Dolphins. This game is in Buffalo at Orchard Park. The Dolphins are coming off of a tough loss in Tua's return. They lost against who was that they lost to
Ooh.
last week? They lost to Arizona. That's right. They lost to Arizona by a point on a last second field goal. And didn't they looked pretty good on offense. They finally looked like they got things rolling on especially in the pass game again with Tua returning. And so yeah, we just need to see some more consistency out of this team. But this is a tough game against the Buffalo Bills, who came off of a huge win against the Seattle Seahawks, which I think you and I, Ant, we picked the Bills last week against the Seahawks, and Ace picked the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So the Bills are, you know, comfortably atop the AFC East, and looking to hold forward there. And a win against the Dolphins, at home, will definitely supplant that for them, and have them only really looking at the Jets potentially, in terms of, who could challenge them for the division, but it's probably out of reach for the Jets at this point. But anyway, Miami at Buffalo. Ant, who you got?
I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to take the over in this one. I know Tua is supposed to be coming back or whatever, and they may be could be switching gears. You never know. This might be one of those games that they pull up to 70 points type of thing. But and Buffalo does have that weak sauce as far as defense is concerned. But I can see Buffalo still winning this, and I think they can win a lot. Especially even though this is a division game, you might think it's more tighter. But I still think that Miami has a lot of kinks to work out. So I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm taking the over in this one, and it's going to be my first lock of the week.
Right.
Then Miami or Buffalo?
They're in Buffalo.
Yeah, I'm still going to stick with that
Yeah.
then.
They played in Miami earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Buffalo won 31-10 in Miami. That was the game that matter of fact, that was the game that what's his name got hurt? Tua,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
when he
So
got the concussion.
he might get the ips just by seeing them again. So I'll go with that.
The
Give him the over on this one and make this my first lock of the week.
All right, Levon, who you got? Bills are 5.5 point favorites, by the way.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think Miami hasn't beaten Buffalo in quite some time. I remember hearing something like that during that last game they played, that Buffalo has owned them in their recent matchups pretty good. And then they whooped them up 31, like Malik said. What was it, 31-10 you said?
Yeah, 31-10.
And that was when Miami was healthy and at their best. Like I said, if I had something to look it up and see, I would love to know what that number is. But I think Buffalo rolls Miami in this game. Tua shouldn't be playing. I mean, he shouldn't be playing. I think that's one of the more tragic and criminal things. This man has had concussion after concussion after concussion. It's looked as bad as it's been, and they're still letting him trot back out there so grown men can run into him full speed. I think it's reckless, and I just hope that he doesn't suffer for it in the future. But with all that being said, I like Buffalo in a walk away. And I want to make this my other lock. And in fact, we have 6, so I'll make this my second lock of the week.
Okay. I'll pick Buffalo as well, and I think we're all locking this in. As a matter of fact, we're dueling with Ace because Ace is locking in the Dolphins in this game. So
That is correct. Yes, I am.
And he steps
I just
in
want
just to
everybody to
say,
know who's listening to this, that all
to
of them
say
are
that.
wrong and I am right. I
Just
just wanted
steps in,
you to
just
be aware.
steps on just to say this. Surprise!
All right.
Like, surprise.
Special guest Ace.
Surprise.
Big
Go
brother
back and do
is
whatever the hell it was
always
that you're
a
doing.
watching.
Just wanted you to know I am aware, and I just wanted y'all to know they're gonna lose. They're getting 6.5 points, I believe. 6.5.
It's 5.5 on FanDuel. It might trend towards 6.5 if on a different line.
Well,
but right now it's
look at
5.5.
more books. Go to
Malik,
BetMGM.
Yeah.
I hate to
You'll
always
get
go to
better
Malik
lines.
on this, but if you could look that up, when's the last time Miami beat Buffalo? Period.
Last year.
I'll look it up. But I vaguely remember, and maybe this is just, I vaguely recall like them kind of splitting wins over the last couple of years with the Tua and Tyreek situation, like especially when Miami was hot, like early on. I do remember like Miami being really hot early on in like a couple of seasons ago, and beating Buffalo, and everybody saying that the division was going to belong to them, and then they just faded towards the end of the season. Either Tua got hurt or they just they couldn't deal with the cold weather or whatever. So I'll look it up though. I'll look it up and see what the recent history is telling us about this game. As disrespectful. CJ Stroud, that's disrespectful. Trying to run around. Okay, stop it. Yeah, I'm taking Buffalo here as well. I'm locking this in. I just think Buffalo at this point, they're playing some of their best football. They've won 3 straight. And this is a divisional game that they know that if they get this victory at home against a division opponent like Miami, this is them putting their stamp on this division and figuring out, hey, we don't really need to do much from here on in because we've already beaten the Jets once. We've beaten the Jets once. We'll have beaten Miami twice. New England's not a match for us. So if we win this game, we really don't have anything to worry about. Just got to take care of business in the rest of the season, and we should be riding high onto a division title again. So this is a game that they have to win. This is a game that they that they want to take over and take control. So I'm going to definitely roll with them and lock this one in as well.
I'd just like to let everybody know out there, the last time the Dolphins actually beat the Bills was 9/25, 2022.
And they only beat them twice since 2017. Only 2 times since 2017.
And what's that, 10 games? 5 years, 2017. So that's
2 games each year.
2 games a year. That's 2017 to 2024. So that's 7 years. So that's 14
games.
So I'm guessing this is the reason why Aaron is picking them to win, because you got to win. Broke clock is right sometimes.
That's true. Hey, that's always true. All right, next up, we have the Saints at the Panthers. Saints are giving 7 points to the Panthers right now in Carolina. Over under is 43.5. Ace has the Panthers winning this game, and he's actually locking this in. I don't know if he has them winning, but he has them covering the number, and he's locking in the Panthers.
They are covering the number.
Not much to say about this, and I'm gonna just give it over to you to give your thoughts on this game. We do know that Derek Carr is coming back. He will be returning a quarterback, and that's probably what this number is alluding to. Because obviously him being back means that the Saints offense, the expectation at the very least that the Saints offense will be back on track and be playing at the same level that we saw them playing at earlier on in the season. So that's a big note. And Ace mentioned Chuba Hubbard. We also know that Jonathan Brooks, their rookie running back, has been cleared and has been practicing in full. So I don't know if that means that he's going to be playing, but he's definitely should definitely factor into some part of this game. This is also Bryce Young's second game back uh, from his benching, and Carolina's first game back after the trade of Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. Yes, to the Ravens.
Hmm.
So some big changes going on in Carolina, and this is the first game back to see what this new look team, this new look version of the Panthers, this second half version of the Panthers is going to look like. So Saints at Panthers, Saints 7-point favorites. Ant, what you got?
Saints at Panthers, that's a negative a little bit. Yeah, right. Not that much. Bryce coming back, who cares? Carr coming back. Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Saints who's gonna march in and stop a mud hole in give it the Saints and give it over. Make this my second lock of the week? Yeah, second lock of the week. Mud hole stomping. Why are you go? Who's gonna hell pick the Panthers? What the out of here?
Oh, Levon.
Yeah, I don't think Ace is picking the Panthers to win. He's just
He's
picking
picking them to cover the 7. He
picking
thinks
the
they'll cover
cover.
the number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they covering nothing. They can't cover the way. They can't even cover.
The Panthers are the worst team in football, and they are not beating the Saints. So I'm gonna use my third lock on this game, and yeah, I got the Saints in this one.
I would just like to note that the last time the Saints played the Carolina Panthers, that was week 1 of this season, and that was a 47-10 victory by the New Orleans Saints. It's one of those 2 wins that they had during the season.
Yeah.
Was 47-10 in New Orleans. So even if, you give, but that's the whole thing. Is that even if you give Carolina an extra 20 points, they still lose by more than 7. They still lose by 27 points. So yeah, it's kind of interesting that that there's anybody picking the Panthers in this situation with everything that the Saints have coming back and appearing to be getting a little bit more healthy. I will say that I'm interested in seeing what Bryce Young looks like in his second go round. Maybe he's learned some things from the situation with Andy Dalton, and he didn't play poorly last week. Even though the Carolina Panthers did not win, were beat pretty soundly by the Broncos, but that's a really good defense over there. I'll pick the Saints as well. I'm not going to lock it in, but I definitely think the Saints win this game, get back on the winning track after losing 6 straight, and get a cover here. All right. Next up, Raiders at Bengals. The Raiders are the underdogs here. Bengals giving up 7.5 points. Cincinnati is just coming off of their victory. No, their loss. Sorry, they lost last week against KC. No, I'm sorry. They lost last week against Philly. That's when they got blown out at home against the Philadelphia Eagles, 37-17. So they should be looking for some payback. They were looking at that point, they were looking to get their record even at 4-4. Now they sit at 3-5. Raiders are at 2-6. Um, Cincinnati still boasts one of the better offenses in the NFL and one of the worst defenses in the NFL. And the Raiders are just not good on either side of the ball. I mean, their pass rush is actually pretty decent, but they're pretty much not, they're not competitive at all offensively. And that bodes well for a team in Cincinnati, which has scored over 25 points in every game other than, looking to be getting back to their high scoring ways since they haven't scored over 20 points in the last 3 weeks. Levon, start with you. Cincinnati hosting Las Vegas. Cincinnati up 7-point favorites. Who do you think?
Yeah, I think you said it pretty well. Cincinnati is very talented offensively, though defensively, I guess they pick when they want to play and play well, and they did pretty well against us defensively, but everybody seems to do that. So I like Cincinnati to win that game. It's hard to pick Oakland because it's like, what do they do well? Not much of anything. Who do they have? Not much of anybody. So like the Panthers, this looks like a team that's just giving up and trying to play out the string here. And the Bengals truly believe that they can get back in this thing if they can go on a little bit of a run. So I'm going to take the Bengals, and I'm not going to lock this in because if there's one game that could go either way, it could be this. But give me Joe Burrow.
All right. The one thing I will say for the Raiders, in the Raiders' favor here, is they're 2-0 against this division. They beat
Mm.
Baltimore and they beat Cleveland. So,
Mhm.
yeah, take that for what it's worth as it pertains to this group. All right. Ant,
Yeah,
Raiders, Bengals -7. What do you got?
it's a tough choice. I think I was thinking about picking the Bengals only because I saw Macaulay Culkin wearing, dressing up as Joe Burrow
Joe
for
Burrow.
Halloween. That was the only reason I was thinking about picking up these two teams are okay teams, but I think they kind of caught bottom out. Even though last week I did say that quite the Bengals like to come back little by little, sneakily come back, and also they show up in the playoff hunt picture. But just for giggles and stuff like that, and make the show a little bit spicy, I'm gonna go the opposite way. I'm taking the Ravens on this one. I mean, not Ravens, the Raiders on this one, and I'm taking the under. I'm not gonna make it a lock, but I'm going to just go the other way to see what happens.
Okay. Ace, if you're there, Ace has the Raiders. You have anything you want to say about that?
He's in space.
Yeah, I am. I'm out here floating in the atmosphere. The Raiders are playing very good defense. Their offense isn't abysmal. Cincinnati cannot run the ball. They're terrible at running the ball. Joe Mixon is a difference maker. He's making the game close for Houston as we speak. Uh, they're a one-dimensional team. With T. Higgins possibly questionable again with the quadriceps injury. I do not know if he will play. And they're also playing they're not playing at home, correct? They're playing in Vegas.
No, this is at home.
This is in Cincinnati. That may help
Yep.
them. It's going to be unusually warm, so I don't think weather is going to be a factor this weekend at all. That is why I'm picking Las Vegas. Joe Burrow does not do well under pressure, and Cincinnati's defense is abysmal. It's been abysmal all year. That's why they lost last week's game. So that's why I'm going with Vegas.
I'm going Cincy here. Had Cincy beaten Philadelphia last week, I probably would be picking the Raiders this week just because it'd be the classic trap game going into the Thursday night games. They play next Thursday. They play against the Ravens, which should be a huge matchup for them from a divisional perspective. So, but just because of the fact that they lost last week and they lost in such horrible fashion to the Eagles, um, that's why I think they'll show up against the Raiders and beat the Raiders this week at home and cover the number. So I'll take the Bengals, not locking this in either, because obviously, as Levon mentioned, I'm sorry, Anthony mentioned these two teams are kind of in the middle, so they're hard to trust, but I'll take the Bengals, but no lock for me either. All right. Chargers at the Browns. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites here on the road playing in Cleveland. It's Jameis Winston's second game as a full-time starter here for the Browns. He looked pretty good last week against the Ravens, as I mentioned. Carved that defense up and made some people some money. And made the question about whether Deshaun Watson is going to be back next year, made that a very very real one. If nothing else, he definitely adds a dimension to the passing offense for them that Deshaun Watson was not providing. And we know that Jameis is a gunslinger. He threw 3 touchdowns. He could have thrown 3 or 4 interceptions if you watch that game all the way through. There was definitely opportunities out there to catch for Baltimore to flip the field on them. They just didn't do it, and that led to a Browns victory. But that said, the Chargers are coming into town. They won. I mean, sorry, they lost their game last week. Let me just refresh my memory there. Um, no, I'm sorry. Chargers won last week against New Orleans at home, 26-8. And not I know now that I'm remembering, didn't look too great doing it. The game was pretty low scoring until the second half. Um, and the Chargers just don't really seem to impress right now. They're not running but I think that's by design. They're running the ball a lot. They're not asking Justin Herbert to do much throwing the ball, and their receivers aren't really doing much in that. They're playing defense, they're running the football, they're stopping the run, and that's how they win. So against the Browns, expect to see much more of that. Personally, I think the under is what plays best here. But Chargers Browns -1.5 to the Chargers. Ant, what you got?
Oh, sorry, I was on the watching something. Anyway, I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one. I'm gonna take the under. I I kind of like how the Browns played last week and stuff like that, but I think they might actually get a little bit shut down this week against this Chargers team. So I'm gonna go with that, and I'm gonna take. This is not gonna be a lot, but I'm gonna go with the Chargers on this one.
All right, Levon.
I think this is when Cleveland turns back into a pumpkin. And I'm glad to get that in before the clock strikes 12 on Halloween. Shout out Halloween. And you're absolutely right. Jameis is a gunslinger. He can get careless with the football. The Chargers are not going to take that for granted. They're going to be well prepared. And yeah, Cleveland, even though they got a good defense, if Jameis can play up to his draft status and what he's capable of, then yeah, Cleveland could be pretty formidable because their defense is really good. They have people around that can make plays. Chubb is back, right? Yeah,
Chubb is back. Yeah, Chubb played last
Chubb
week.
has been back. Really, they just need the QB play to be on it. But I need more than 1 week before I can get on that bandwagon. So I'm taking the Chargers in a safe bet here to win that game.
Yeah, we're all sweeping this. Ace has the Chargers as well. I'm taking the Chargers too. Levon, you hit it right on the head. I just don't trust Jameis. I mean, one thing that you said is if he can play up to his drafted potential. That's been the story of Jameis Winston since the day Jameis Winston came into the league. The question was whether or not he could play up to that potential. And to date, he hasn't. You'll see a really good game from him, and then you'll see a really bad game from him right afterwards. I don't know if he'll be as bad as we've seen him in the past, but we know that those 50-50 balls that get caught by his team this week can get caught by the other team next week, and that's just how he plays. He's not going to change. Tiger don't change his stripes. He's not going to be any different. I don't expect him to be any different, and I think the Chargers will take advantage of that at least once, possibly twice in the game, even though it's on the road in Cleveland and they're traveling and West Coast traveling to East Coast, time difference, all that stuff. It's all relevant, but I don't think that that's going to be a problem here, especially for a Chargers team that runs the football as well as they do. So it's clean sweep for the four of us. No locks, but actually no. Ace has this as a lock for the Chargers 1.5. But clean sweep across the board for us. All right. Next up, the Washington Commanders going to MetLife Stadium to play against the New York Football Giants. Levon, this is your squad. I won't even tease this. With a like a rundown. I'll just say Washington got very, very lucky last week to win a game that they dominated the majority of the game and were still losing because they couldn't score against the Bears. They got extremely lucky that the Bears just wet the bed on the worst possible time and allowed Jaden Daniels to first complete a 12, 13-yard pass to get them just enough room where he was able to get a ball to the end zone, and then tip drill happened, and here we go. And the Giants, they played better, even though they lost on Monday night against the Steelers. They played better, and they looked a little bit more competent, looked much better than the team that they were against Philly the week before, but still lost the game and are sitting at is it 1-6 or 2-6? The Giants right now.
2-6.
2-6 for the Giants. So the Commanders are 3.5-point favorites on the road here at MetLife. Levon, who you got? Commanders at Giants, 3.5-point favorites.
Well, I like how you said you're not going to even tease the game, and then you went on for a good 5 minutes there teasing the game.
That was yeah, because I started
teasing this game, but 5 minutes later, Anyway, the fact that this game is at MetLife, we don't win there. It's well documented. The only way it would be even more well documented is if the game was at night in prime time, which it's not. But I can't pick the Giants to do anything except disappoint. And the Commanders have been one of the darlings of the NFL this year. Rookie quarterback, playing well, big wins all over ESPN, celebrated. Seems like it's their time to, at the very least, get into the playoffs and get one win before they get sent packing. So I don't see why that stops this week. I think the Giants have a hard time stopping the run as it is. And the Commanders do a lot of short passes, screen game, wide receivers, get Jaden in space, let them run, don't take any real risks. And they just seem to get wins that way. And the Giants can't seem to do anything any kind of way. So I'm going to lock in Washington for this one
I know
because
that
Oh,
must hurt.
wow.
That must
because
hurt.
Hey,
it makes way too much sense not to. And I'm trying very hard in my old age to be objective. So locking in the Commanders over the Giants on the road.
see, I can feel the love for his team because I know I had to do that a couple of times. I can still feel the love. Quite,
Look,
you got to put it on your team like that.
despite the Jets winning this game right now at MetLife, I'm sure that you picked the Texans early on.
Yes, I did. I picked the Texans. I picked the Texans in the blowout because I know how this good this team is, but they was playing like crap. But for some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's this paper bag thing. I got all over my social media. This picture of the paper bag guy. I'm gonna keep that on there for the rest of the season.
And I think it's the black jerseys. Y'all should just wear the black jerseys from now on.
You might be right because we actually play good with the black jerseys. I noticed. We do play good in the black jerseys.
It's a good look. It's definitely a good look. But Commanders and Giants, who you got in?
I'm actually gonna take all that love that Levon used to have, and I'm gonna pick it for him. I know he can't do it, so just like how they used to do it with Conan back in the days. He can't cry, so I cry for him. I'll pick the Giants for him. I'm picking the Giants, and I'm gonna take the under in this one. This is gonna be my fourth lock of the week.
Okay. All right. Well, I like the Giants. It's funny. It's funny this would you say that, Levon? Because this is just a replay of the game that happened where Washington didn't score a touchdown. They just kicked what, 6 field goals and they won the game. The Giants scored. Huh?
I think it was 4 field.
Was it 4?
It was enough supposed to score 27. No,
yeah, the Giants scored 2 touchdowns in the game.
We had 21. We scored 3 and we lost.
Okay, 3 touchdowns and they lost, and they scored no touchdowns, kicked off field goals.
Yeah,
so I just can't imagine that the Giants let this happen, let this type of thing happen again. I did find it interesting that the commentary is. I was listening to WFAN. Not definitely ESPN New York radio in New York. And, there still seems to be a pretty good vote of confidence in Brian Daboll, at least, as a head coach. And you would think that after these last 2 years and in what the Giants are going through right now, that there would probably be some talk about replacing him, but doesn't look like that's going to be an issue. Looks like he might be back next season, and they'll try to figure out the quarterback situation. But at least for right now, it's Daniel Jones and it's his show. No benching in sight at this point, and let's see what happens. So I like the Giants to just cover the number. It's 3.5 points. They're at home. Play with some pride. Division opponent that you really played up well against previously. No reason that you can't do that. Ace has the Commanders as well. He's locking them in. So I'm not locking in the Giants, but I like the Giants to be able to cover the number. Maybe win the game outright or just lose by 2 or 3 points. All right. Patriots at the Titans. This is gonna be a barn burner. Like this game. Now I'm really not gonna tease this game. Both these teams are horrible. The Titans got boat raced by my Lions last week, and they looked horrible doing it. The Patriots actually won last week against Anthony's Jets, but I don't know what we can glean from that because the Jets were just jetting at that time. I don't know what to say about them. But right now, the Titans are getting 3.5 points. They're 3.5-point favorites at home against the Patriots. And Levon, what are you thinking?
Oh, the Patriots are home?
No, the Patriots are on the road
Oh my God.
in Tennessee.
It might have made it a little easier to pick Patriots if they were at home, but now we're in Tennessee. Was it Mason Rudolph quarterbacking for this football team?
It looks like it. I'm looking at the player notes right now. Will Levis is not currently on. He's still listed as questionable,
Uh,
so he may be out there. I'm trying to see if
oof.
he did practice.
And Drake May is still in concussion, or is he out of it?
Drake May is still in concussion protocol.
Oh God, this is the game. This is the game where if you get it right, you really know what the hell you're talking about. Goodness. Give me the Titans because they're at home. That's all I got for this one. I mean, golly, no one outside of Tennessee or Boston is gonna give a holy shit about this game. Give me the Titans. Oh,
Oh man.
Wow.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more recording space on this team. Give me the Titans as well, and I'll just take the points.
I'm locking in the Titans. Like, I mean, as bad as they looked last week against my Lions, they
Were you gonna make this a lock?
defensive. I'm making this a lock. Defensively, they actually have been pretty good. And they didn't lose defensively against the Lions. I mean, part of it was because Mason Rudolph and the offense gave the Lions such short fields, but the Lions only had 219 yards of total offense in that game. Now, one of the plays was a 70-yard run by Jahmyr Gibbs, and that did not look good. The Titans looked absolutely slow trying to catch him, but a lot of people look slow trying to catch Jahmyr Gibbs. Um, but I think they are better, at least on one side of the ball, than people are giving them credit for. And if Will Levis is not out there, whether Will Levis is out there or Mason Rudolph is out there, I don't think it should matter because even though they're going to give up some turnovers, the Titans defense can lock things down on the other side. I don't trust Jacoby Brissett. I don't trust Drake May, even though he's coming off the concussion. So I don't trust the Patriots. 3.5 points should be more than enough to cover. The over-under on this one is 37.5. I think I would tend to play the under here because I think that the defenses keep both teams under 20. All right. Bears at the Cardinals. I'm sorry, Ace has the Patriots
Aces
in this
pick.
game as
Yeah.
well. Ace picked the
I have the
Patriots.
Pats as well because of Jacoby Brissett. He's a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph. And
Hmm.
Ramondre Stevenson is going to play, so he's
But he's
healthy,
not
so
better.
it should be
But
all
he's
right.
not better than Drake May. Anyway,
No, but he's
Bears.
better than the quarterback on the other team.
Eh, marginally. Bears at the Cardinals. The Cardinals are the favorites here. They are giving 1.5 points, and Ace rejoined at the perfect time. Perfect timing to talk about his Bears. The Hail Mary Bears. Ace, we'll start with you here. Bears coming off of probably their sickest loss of the last like decade,
Mm-mm.
if that. Um,
No, it's not.
Caleb Williams was outdueled by Jaden Daniels. Yes, he was.
Outduel? That's
Yes, he
that's what you
was.
want to say?
No,
Okay,
Jaden Daniels outplayed him. But
sure
we don't
he
have to talk
did.
about that. He outplayed him.
Sure,
He outplayed
yeah.
him, and he got the win at the end. But your boys are 1.5 point dogs here against the Cardinals, who won last week against the Panthers. So I know you're picking the Bears and you're locking in the Bears, but why don't you explain to everybody your logic on that?
Arizona's defense is poor. They have a poor pass rush. They have poor coverage. Two will look great against them. They put up 28 points, and somehow they put up 27 points. They lost because of a missed extra point.
Can't really hear you, Ace.
Can you hear me?
Not really, no.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, you
Much
sound like
better.
you was down a tunnel earlier.
No problem. The Bears have a much better defense. They have a much better offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. is still playing with an injury. Chicago's going to be tightening up on defense. I don't believe in Arizona. Kyler is not that good. They are leading their division at 4-4. 4-4.
Mm.
That lets you know how bad the NFC West is. The NFC North still has a division with all teams with a winning record, and that's after Chicago dropping last week's game, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Therefore, I expect them to bounce back on the road. They have not won a game on the road yet, even though they won in London, that was technically a home game. I'm expecting them to win this one road game to get them to possibly 9, maybe 10 wins. So I'm picking the Bears and I'm locking this in. Caleb Williams is playing well. He's playing better each week. The offense is growing. They should be able to keep it cooking. So I'm locking that in.
All right. The Bears homer locks in the Bears. What else is new? And you're up.
Well, I need the Bears to win. I need them to quite soften the Cardinals up a little bit, especially the little midget. They need to soften him up a little bit so he won't be quite ready to play against my Jets.
Politically, the political year, Ant just loves being politically incorrect as a mug, man. I swear, it's hilarious.
So I just need that beat down, and quite hopefully the Bears win. And I'm really hoping for a good smackdown, and yeah. But anyway, I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take the under in this one. I think this might actually be a good game, being all serious and stuff like that. I think this might be a close game. I don't think they're going to learn their lesson from what happened last week. I know somebody on the Bears team definitely had to run a couple of laps, after that game. But anyway, I'm going to take the Bears. I'm going to take the under in this one. I'm not going to make it a lock though.
I'm agreeing with Levon. Why are you on the team anymore, dude? You know, I don't even dude. I would. You have to legitimately. We have to go back to rookie hazing, okay? Before I'm allowing you to get on a bus. I like the Cardinals here. I like the Cardinals here. I'm not gonna lock them in, but I do like the Cardinals here to cover at home. Ace took my thunder when he said that the Bears hadn't won a road game yet this season. That is absolutely true. This is the part of the season where things get a little bit more, are supposed to be getting a little bit more difficult for the Bears after this game. Things will start to trade. They start playing a lot of those division games that they haven't really played yet. So they need to get this win, but I don't think they will. I think the Cardinals are a much better team than people are giving them credit for. And Ace, to your point, they have an opportunity to win this division. So I think the Cardinals stay in front and get themselves over 500 and send the Bears back to 500 on their side. So give me the Cardinals, and I'll take the over in this game. Levon.
Hey,
Well, what's up?
Arizona is the losingest franchise in the history of the NFL.
And they'll beat the Bears. So
Malik wasn't here for our discussion about this, but I contest that young man is lucky that it's not old Chicago, because Carmine and the guys might have been at O'Hare waiting for him to get off the plane. And they might not be able to find him to this day after costing Chicago that victory, let alone if you guys missed the playoffs by a game. New Chicago he just might pop up, just he just might be going off the face. But with that being said, the Bears will come back with a vengeance in this game after that embarrassment and being mocked by the football world. They're going to come out with a vengeance, and that division isn't very good. Central is way better. They're battle-tested. I actually agree with Ace and think that the Bears will win this game. I don't think it'll be a walk. It could be a pretty close game, but I do think they get the victory. And I think they're more talented than Arizona, top to bottom. The only thing holding them back is that a lot of their talent in key places is young and inexperienced, and that's mostly at the quarterback position. But they're a more talented team, more battle-tested, and they have all of the what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of it. But the initiative, not initiative,
the moxie,
the incentive to come out and wash that nasty ass taste out of their mouth from that last game. So give me the Bears. All that to say, just give me Chicago. Yep.
Oh, Malik, before you go on,
yeah,
I just want to say, Ace, I know you might be far away. Hopefully, you can hear this. You hear this on the recording later on. I need just like how Levon was referencing the old Bears. I need the old Bears to show up. I need Brian Urlacher style type of Bears to show up.
You are high up this win tonight. I'll tell you that much right now.
Yes, because I'm trying my best to get back into the NFL here. So I need the old Bears to show up, and have a good old sock party
Count the
have a
victories.
good have a good has a good old sock party against Kyler Murray. Gonna beat the stuffing out of him.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
See what a win gets you? You see the optimism of
I was
win
about to say
will
he's cheek to cheek right now.
I'm
Cheek to
telling you.
cheek, he's enjoying this, especially because they won on on an improbable Garrett Wilson touchdown, and then followed it up with the Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, bomb. So it's not
Yeah.
like it looks good. It looked good today.
Looks good today.
Yeah,
Feeling
y'all
good.
guys don't understand. My pinky toe is right under stepping the bounds of known of it. I don't give a F about the NFL anymore. I was almost in Nick territory. I left the Knicks. I left basketball for years. I was close to doing this with the Jets. Y'all don't know
on his
how
way
close
back
I
to
was.
the NBA. Yeah, almost. Look, Jets were so bad they almost made Anthony a basketball fan again. That's hilarious.
That's funny. Yeah, I needed that laugh.
Oh boy, don't tell me
man.
Sauce is hurt now.
That's funny. That's funny stuff.
But yeah,
All
Ace,
right.
I know you heard it from down there. You was with your kid or whatever. I know that and all that. But I know you heard what I said. The Bears need to
Yeah.
turn back into the Brian Urlacher Bears and beat the stuffing out of Kyler Murray.
We were talking about a pregame or in the first half, I think going into halftime before we started recording. I said, well, what happens if the Jets win? The Jets not gonna win. I was like, okay, all right, cool. And here they are. Somehow they pulled it out. So hope is still alive. They can still get to 9-10 wins.
I'm just hoping Sauce is okay because he looks like
he's limping.
Sauce look like
He's fine.
I don't know.
As long as he didn't blow up. As long as nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna wood right now because this field is good to take people's ACLs and stuff out.
Yeah. It doesn't look like it's an AC. It doesn't look like it's a knee. It looks like it's his ankle. He was grabbing at his ankle. So maybe it's
okay. We'll see what happens.
Nothing twisted or anything like that. Well, we'll see.
But yeah, back to the picks here. We were talking about Brian Urlacher Bears defense.
You were talking about Urlacher.
Murphy out. Anyway, let me stop talking about that before I have some mom from New Mexico or something like that. Shout out to all the fans out there. Shout out to all the fans. I don't want nobody getting mad at me. I know we're in 2024 type of time. We can't be talking about 1980s and 1990s type of football.
Mm.
Referencing the Saints here, with the bounty
Y'all are
gates.
acting
We can't be
super
talking about
old. Urlacher's first season was like 2004. I need you to realize that.
Yeah, but I was referencing bounty gates. I was referencing bounty
20
gates
years
type of
ago.
style.
Wow, that's crazy. All right. Jaguars at the Eagles. Eagles are coming off of a big victory in Cincinnati last week. And the Jags, they lost a heartbreaker to the Green Bay Packers on a last-minute field goal by the Packers, Brandon McManus, 30-27. Again, they looked really good, in their game against the Packers. Looked like they had it. They were down 10, and then they came back, and they were up 10, and then they wound up losing the game late. So up and down game for the Jags, but they finally looked like they kind of, broke out a little bit of the slump that they were in and look like they can score some points. But this is an Eagles team that's rolling. That's rolling right now. They've won 3 straight. And they won the last 2 in some pretty convincing fashion against the Giants and the Bengals on the road. Now they come back home to play a Jaguars team that's just not as good as them from a talent perspective. Eagles are 5-2, looking to continue to hold fort in the NFC East and lock that division down, or at least to stay along with the Washington in that division. And so this is a game that they had to win. Eagles are 7.5-point favorites. Over under is 45.5. Ace is picking the Jaguars. Ace, I don't know if you have anything you want to say about that before we roll to everybody else, but
yeah, the Jags have figured out whatever was ailing them earlier in the year, and they're not giving up on their season. The Eagles aren't looking that clean on both sides of the ball, which is why I'm going to take Jags to cover this. I think they cover but lose. It's going to be a close game. I say they lose by a field goal, which is why I'm taking the Jags. That's why I'm not locking it in, but I believe the Jags are good enough to stay within touchdown. 7.5. The hook is really helping, so that's why I'm taking.
All right. And Eagles, Jaguars, Eagles 7.5-point favorites. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go the same route as Ace, but I'm going to actually lock it in. I'm going to take the Jaguars, and I'm taking the points on this one. And it's going to be by, what is it, 5th lock?
This is Well, we got to go over the locks before we roll out, but I have you at 4, and you can tell me if I missed one.
4 and a possible.
I will go the other way. I will lock in the Eagles here. I think the Eagles are finally hitting their stride, at least on offense, and their defense is actually playing pretty well. Did some impressive things against Cincinnati on the road last week. Should be able to do the same thing against Trevor Lawrence and that squad in Jacksonville. What we saw again, the one thing that we haven't seen with Jacksonville thus far this season is they've got dealing with some injuries as well. Christian Kirk hurt his collarbone. I think he broke his collarbone, and he's out for the season. And no other receiver other than Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie, caught a pass last week again, for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So it's going to be tough. They play a lot of man defense in Jacksonville, and that has been problematic because playing man defense against AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, not an easy thing to do. So anyhow, I will roll with the Eagles here, and I'm going to lock this in for my 4th lock of the week. Eagles giving 7.5. I think that's a pretty good number to cover. Levon.
Did D'Amico Ryans like totally not acknowledge Aaron Rodgers just now? But did I like miss
I
them?
thought he gave him a little bit of a hug.
Okay, I don't know. I thought I
Yeah.
just saw them like not acknowledge each other on my trip. Anyway,
Thought there was like a small embrace.
I think
Yeah.
there's a game every week or two, and this is proof of it, that doesn't go the way it's supposed to or the way you think it will. And I'm gonna use this opportunity here to pick this as that game. I think this is a Doug Peterson revenge game. And I think he's a better coach than Nick Sirianni. I think the Eagles aren't very good. I think they're riding high, feeling a little comfortable. And this could easily be a game that Jacksonville comes in and catches them sleep and gets a victory. I just think Jacksonville's way more talented than they play. Like they have talent on both sides of the ball, good young talent on both sides of the ball, and they just underachieved. They've been underachieving ever since they lost and gave away that first game of the year against the Dolphins. But yeah, I like Jacksonville. I want to lock this one in. I'm gonna lock this upset in, and Jacksonville's gonna win this game.
All right. Let's move on to America's Game of the Week. This is not me saying this. This is Fox saying it. America's Game of the Week, 425, Lions at Packers. The Lions are 3.5-point favorites heading into this game against the Packers. I think the biggest question here is Jordan Love. He did suffer a groin injury in the game in their game last week against the Jaguars. And Malik Willis wound up finishing that game out. He was walking around on the sideline at the end of the game, so it's possible that he is going to be able to play, but he's been limited in practice all week thus far. So we'll see what happens there. I think this number, I don't know if this 3.5 number, it feels like it might be, leaning obviously to Jordan Love not playing. And that's the reason why the Packers aren't favored on this game. What's funny here is obviously, as well as Detroit's playing and has played over the course of the season since, they're 6-1 leading the division. They haven't played a game yet outside of a dome. Every game that they've played thus far this season has been indoors. And we know what Jared Goff's record and the team's record has been indoors versus outdoors. This is the first outdoor game they're playing against a really good Packers team. I'll pick first here. I like, as much as I love my Lions, give me a home dog getting 3.5 points. I'm 7-0 picking my Lions, including that loss that I picked, including the cover that I picked with Tampa Bay covering. I don't know that the Packers win this game. I think this is a much easier game for the Lions if Malik Willis is out there because of the Lions' ability to stop the run, and Green Bay will lean more heavily on the run if he's out there versus Jordan Love. But I think if Jordan Love plays, and this is a 3.5-point spread, and you're making this bet today, if Jordan Love plays, I think this is a pick 'em game. I think the 3.5 points is just a little bit ridiculous. I think this game can easily be decided by a point, 2 points on either side. So I'm not saying that the Lions will lose this game, but I think the 3.5 points is way too much to give any team as good as the Green Bay Packers at home against a division rival. So I'll take the Packers and I'll take the over in this game. And
Yeah, I'm gonna go the same exact route on this one. I'm taking the Packers and I'm taking the over. Malik Willis actually plays kind of good as well. You can't just discount him just as just a regular backup, whatever. He did kind of good in this stretch that he had time to play. So I can definitely see either way how things can go either way on this one. But I'm definitely gonna ride the wave with you on this one. Take the Packers and the over in this one.
all right, Levon.
We're all starting with That's the one thing we've said and agreed on all night is the word The Packers and the Lions are two of the most enviable fan bases in all of football. Both ascending teams who are currently actually in the mix for the Super Bowl this year. And I think Dan Campbell is probably one of the best head coaches in football because I'm a firm believer that a head coach should be a leader and motivator of men before anything else, which is, like guru or offensive minded or defensive minded. You got to be able to lead and inspire the people around you. And I think he is probably head and shoulders above everybody else in the league at doing that. And I say that all to just end up saying that whatever Malik picks for a Detroit game, I agree with. So Malik, whatever you said, I agree with that. So
I think the Lions can win this game, but I think giving points to a team as good as Green Bay at home is just it to me. I don't like doing it. So I take the Packers in terms of just like I said in a betting situation. If I'm going money line, I'll go Lions. But if I'm going with points, give me the home team.
And I don't want to jinx you, but yeah, the record is 7-0. I'll go with the 7-0. So whatever you just said, yeah, that's my pick.
Look, Ace has the Lions here. Ace, any parting thoughts before you roll off of this one?
If Jordan Love plays, he's super banged up. If Malik Willis plays, he's clearly not able to throw the ball down the field very well, and that's where the Packers' strength lies. It'll make them one dimensional, and you'll be able to beat up on Josh Jacobs all day long. Somehow Van Ginkel will generate a sack fumble or a pick off of him and score a touchdown. The Lions' defense overall has been the best it's been literally in decades this season, statistically and actually on the field when I see them play. They were still able to get pressure last week. They scored. You pointed it out. They had less than 250 yards, and they put up 52 points. It was insane. If Willis plays, they have no chance. So yeah, I'll take those. I'll lay those 3.5 points, and I'll take the Lions. I think they're clearly the better team, and they've beaten Green Bay last year. They'll beat Green Bay this year. I don't care if they're playing on the moon, on grass, outside, inside, in the goddamn Bahamas. They're gonna win the game.
Green Bay did beat us last year on Thanksgiving in Detroit. So that was
Who did they lose to in the playoffs? Green Bay?
Green Bay lost to San Francisco in the playoffs.
Okay. Yeah. Badly, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they actually
I think Ace is trying to bring up the one when Detroit destroyed Aaron Rodgers.
They were winning that game.
In the Green Bay
Packers. Green Bay was winning that game by
No.
like 10 or 12 points, and then they lost it. They lost it. Yeah, they lost against San Francisco. So
a team that don't know how to close.
Very young teams don't do that very well.
Ace, I hope you're right. I hope my Lions go in there and destroy the Packers. I'll just like I said, it's a betting show, and I'm going to give the points to
they'll win by
the Packers. Are a good team.
I got him by.
And one correction I will make for you: Mr. Van Ginkel does not play for the Lions. He plays
for Minnesota. I was wondering. Yeah. I was like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, he's
my bad.
Outside, he's a rusher. He's a pass rusher for the Lions. I wish he played for the Lions because we need some pass rush.
I got him confused.
Van Ginkel.
We could use a pass rush because we still have not been able to generate a sack outside of we haven't been able to generate a sack since Aiden Hutchinson went down.
That's
The
crazy.
Lions have not been able to generate a sack from the defensive line.
Oh,
They have generated sacks, but they're all coming from the second and third level, which means that we're having to bring more pressure, which means that Aaron Glenn is leaving his corners out on islands, and these receivers of the Packers are really good. So we'll see.
Well, they're not. They're mid,
All right.
and their stats show it.
Wow.
Rams at the Seahawks. Rams are 1.5-point favorites here, going to Seattle. I think this is an
Puka's hurt.
interesting. I think this is an
DK.
interesting. I think this is an interesting play here because DK did not play last week for Seattle, and they wound up losing that game if I'm not mistaken. Yes, they lost last week against Buffalo, and they were blown out in that game. They were never really close at all at any point in that game, and so that's probably why this number, why Seattle is expected to lose this game, at home with the 12s in the stands. So we'll see what happens here. But the Rams are getting healthy. Puka Nacua is back. Cooper Kupp played well, and he's back. He played well. He had a good game last week. Sounds like the trade rumors of him getting sent out of LA last week have died down to some degree. He was not traded, so he's still on the team. So is Matt Stafford. So it sounds like Stafford and the offense is going for it. The Seahawks have not been great against the run this year, and Kyron Williams has been one of the better short yardage backs thus far this season. I think he's in the top 5 or 6 in rushing touchdowns as well. So Rams at Seahawks. This will be a good divisional matchup. Both teams looking to keep themselves above water in this division. I think Levon mentioned it, or somebody mentioned it, or Ace mentioned it earlier. This division is pretty much up for grabs. Everybody's either 4-4, 3-4, or 4-5. So everybody's kind of right there in the middle of the pack. So Rams at Seahawks. Levon, what are you thinking?
Woo. DK out. That's a Rams dub. It's as simple as that. Gino is not nearly as good if he doesn't have DK security blanket to throw the ball to. And that's just pretty much it. You said DK is out, or is he playing?
He did not practice on Thursday. He was out last week he has a MCL situation. He did not practice last week, and he did not play last week. He did not practice on Thursday.
Yes.
And Tyler Lockett was out last week, and he's a full participant in practice. So it looks like he will be back, but DK may be sitting this one out.
So DK sitting it out. This game is in LA.
It's in Seattle.
Oh shit. Well, there you go. See, it can't be easy. Can never make it easy. 12 man, no DK. Oh, I'm not really too sure about that LA defense. They getting healthy on offense. I don't know much about their defense. And being in that dome, they're going to need to stop the run. 12 man, that's a tough one. If DK doesn't play, I'm taking the Rams. And I'm not going to know we're doing this now. So give me the Rams. Give me the Rams in this game. Everybody getting healthy. Like you said, Puka, Cooper, Stafford. That's enough on that offense. Well-coached football team. They must have something on defense. They should get by and win that game.
Okay. The Rams are still one of the youngest teams in the NFL especially on the defensive side of the ball. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp are the reason that their offense is a little bit higher, but their defense is I think is the youngest in the NFL. They just got a ton of rookies and young players on that side of the ball.
You know why that is, don't you?
Well,
so what happens when you buy
away all their draft picks.
Yeah.
They traded away all their draft picks to get a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they believe it's worth it because they were in the playoffs again last year too.
Okay.
So regardless. And Seahawks, Rams 1.5-point favorites. Who you got?
It's actually a hard game to pick. The reason why is not only that the Rams are basically rebuilding according from the scratch or whatever, like Levon's basically talking about. It was one thing that was funny that happened in Seattle last week against the Bills. The Bills fans actually outnumbered the Seahawks fans and actually looked like they took over the 12-man area. And actually, it was kind of weird. That was almost like a Bills home game last week. But I think that the Rams might come back on this one, but I don't think they're going to win. The Rams definitely going to win this one, in my opinion. Sorry about that. My opinion's all over the place because I'm looking at different things. But anyway, sorry about that.
Looking at the Jets schedule, looking at the
I'm
upcoming
looking
wins.
I'm looking at press conferences and stuff like that and counting wins and quite magical bean sprouts. But anyway, let me focus back on this. I think Seattle's going to come back and win this game on this one. Puka Nacua might be out on this one. I was mentioning that a little bit earlier because the thing is that he actually got hurt during practice quite yesterday. So we quite have to still look into that. But it might be a very close game. So I'm going to go with Seattle and I'm going to take the under in this one. Wait, how many more games we got left to go? Because I think I got two more picks to go.
Two more games. We got two more games, Sunday night and Monday night after this one.
Okay, one of them is with the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yes, one of them is the Chiefs.
Okay, yeah, I gotta save that for my gimme win. Since Ace made that up a couple of years ago, the give me win, pick an easy win. But anyway, so I'm gonna make this my fifth lock, I believe. If not,
Yep, that is your fifth lock.
All right, so this is gonna be my fifth lock, unless it quite more popped up out of nowhere. We might go up to 8 locks of the week sooner or later. But anyway, this is my fifth lock of the week. I got one more, and I'm saving that for KC.
All right, I'm taking the Rams here as well. I just like the way that they've looked offensively especially last week against Minnesota when they won that game on Thursday night. Minnesota's had been a good team, had been a really good defense, and they carved them up. And they looked really good doing it. So I think the Rams feel pretty comfortable playing in Seattle. They don't feel like, obviously they feel like, they can definitely win there. And so I don't see any reason to believe that the Seahawks are just they're a pretty mid team. They're kind of up and down. And to Levon's point, if DK Metcalf ain't playing, that takes away what it does really, especially to Geno, is it takes away the vertical game. It takes away the vertical pass game entirely. He can't get the ball deep because Smith and Jigba is a slot guy, and Tyler Lockett does not have that game breaking speed to spread the defense on a vertical perspective. And if you can't do that, then that hurts your running game. And it just kind of really just muddies the water on the offense. So if he's not able to play, I really think that the Rams have a pretty good strategy for beating them and just putting up enough points to keep Seahawks from being able to score anything. And we saw that happen against the Bills last week. Ace has the Seahawks here. He's not locking them in, and he's not here to speak to it. But yeah, just want to let you guys know. All right, Sunday Night Football, Colts at Vikings. This is an interesting game. The Vikings are 5.5-point favorites, and the Colts have some drama here surrounding them because I think I've been saying it over the past 2 or 3 weeks that I like the Colts when Joe Flacco plays, and I don't like the Colts when Anthony Richardson plays. And guess what? The Colts don't like the Colts when Anthony Richardson plays because he hasn't been good, despite the fact that he pulled himself out of a game because he was tired. And we can get into that in a little bit later. But he was 10 for 32 last week. 10 for 32. He had completed 7 passes through 3 quarters in that game. It's ridiculous how poorly that guy throws the football. He does everything else pretty well. He's got a cannon for an arm and he runs really fast, but he has 0 touch on the football. This is exactly the type of situation when you have a quarterback like Joe Flacco, and you have a team that's 4-4, 4-3, in the mix for the division, especially with Houston losing again tonight. Like, you don't throw these opportunities away. And with Anthony Richardson, it looked like they were just about going to do that because he just can't generate points for this team, especially throwing the football. He wasn't able to do it, and he's been benched. That said, this is still a 5.5 point number for the Vikings, and the Vikings have looked bad for 2 weeks straight. So they've lost two games in a row. So I just think this is a really, really interesting game, a really, really interesting number. Colts at the Vikings. Ace has the Colts, and he's locking this in with the Colts. Levon, I'm going to start with you here. What are you thinking? Sunday Night Football, Colts at Vikings. 5.5 points to the Vikings.
Yeah, I guess we'll touch on that. It's very interesting. topic of discussion. Kind of the same situation Carolina's in, except the Colts have the unfortunate business of actually being relevant and in the middle of a playoff race. So they can't just scrap their season and say, okay, we'll let him get some reps in. Can't afford to do that when there's a chance you could actually, be playing bonus football at the end of the year. But to give up on such a high draft pick, a young quarterback like that, it's hard to come back from that, if at all. Like, how do you turn back to the kid? But anyway, go on and on about that. No, I won't do it. I will say that Minnesota seems like they're going to do what everybody thought they would eventually, which kind of sucks. The Sam Darnold story was a nice one. But they're coming back to the pack a little bit now, starting to look a little bit more like we thought they would at the beginning of the year. With that being said, if there's a chance for them to get a win in, this is it. Being at home against a team in the middle of a quarterback switch in the Colts, who are not all that impressive, and Joe Flacco is straight off the couch after all. It's not like he's Joe Montana. So let's see if Brian Flores can draw something up and get Minnesota back on the winning track. I'm gonna pick the Vikings, and I'm gonna lock that in with, I don't know how many locks I got left, but I think I have 5 and I got 1 left, just like Anthony does, possibly. I could be wrong.
Currently, right now, you already at 6.
All right, so that's my last lock. Locking in the
So
Vikings.
this would be 7.
You don't get 6 locks.
Everybody's got
Nobody
6.
gets-
You've
Everybody
done
got 6 locks.
6.
You started the 6A, so we all got 6.
You've actually done 6 already, Ace. So what are you talking
Nobody
about?
gets 7 locks.
Oh,
Nobody gets
sorry.
7.
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah.
it back.
Don't worry, folks. We're gonna push it to 8
I
locks next week.
thought I had 5. Okay.
No, I'll run down the locks for everybody before we roll off. But
I do-
yeah,
But
I
let
do-
me add reasoning to my pick and tell you why Levon is
well,
absolutely
let's let Levon finish. and
No, I'm
then-
done.
Oh,
That
okay.
was it.
Okay,
I'm picking the
all right.
Vikings.
Thank you. No, he's
Ace,
done.
why are
He's
you
cooked.
picking the
Yeah.
Colts? Why are
Aaron
you
Jones
locking
is
in the
hurt.
Colts? Because you have them locked, by the way.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor is playing. They've
Okay.
won every single game that he's played. He's the best running back in the league. He's the youngest running back in the league, but that's good. Derrick Henry
Derrick
is having
Henry.
an
I
amazing
was about to say
season,
Derrick Henry might have something to say about
but
that.
I believe Jonathan Taylor is better. That is my
Okay.
opinion. It is not a fact. It's not backed up by stats. He's the best running back in the league. Aaron Jones is hurt. Justin Jefferson is amazing. But as you said, Malik, they are who we thought they were. They are not very good. They will not be very good for the rest of the season. They're going to have 3 losses in a row. And they're going to be like, oh, so all they do is just blitz all the time? So we just have to worry about blitz pickup and blitz breakers. If you blitz 58, 60% of the time, guess what we got to do? Run the ball. You know what Indianapolis can do? Run the ball real well. And it's not just all deep bombs with the other quarterback who's only started 20 games since high school. So he can sit and watch and learn. And you're going to watch Joe Flacco carve up a defense that just tries to blitz him constantly. That's why I'm locking in Indianapolis, even though they're on the road.
I think this is really interesting. Just I honestly, man, the points is the only reason why I lean towards the Colts, because I feel like this is going to be a really, really close football game. Joe Flacco, Levon's right. He's not Joe Montana. He's not coming off the couch and, lighting anybody up. But he's played enough football that he's seen every blitz, every coverage that you could possibly see. Anything that Brian Flores would be throwing at him on that defense, he's seen. And he's likely going to be able to adjust to and get the Colts into the right offense here. The Vikings, they get back TJ Hawkinson from, this is his first game coming back to the team. That's another weapon for Sam Darnold to take advantage of. But not lost on me was the fact that they did lose their starting left tackle, Christian Darrisaw. He's out for the season. He tore his ACL ACL and MCL in that loss against the Rams last week. They did they traded for Cam Robinson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, but I heard somebody on TV earlier this week talking about the difficulty of bringing in an offensive lineman mid-season and trying to get them acclimated with like the calls and just the way that things are run on this side of the ball. Plus, Cam Robinson wasn't even playing in Jacksonville, so you got to make sure that he's in game shape. There's a lot of variables there. So I'm gonna take the Colts to keep this number close. I don't think they win the game. I definitely think they lose the game, but I think that they're able to stay close enough to the Vikings here to make it interesting and maybe lose by 5.5, maybe lose by 4 or 5, 3, 4, or 5 points. If not, win it outright. So I'll take the Colts. I won't lock it in, but I definitely think that they are good enough to hold fort here. And up to you.
A little bit busy. I'll pick the I'll pick the Vikings in this one, and I'm going to not make this a lock, but I'm going to pick the Vikings, and I'm going to take the under in this one. I think they actually have a chance to actually win this, or maybe even blow it out. But Corey, you have to see how the Colts actually play right now under new management, so to speak.
Guys,
Anyway.
Listeners, if you're listening to this game right now, if you're listening to us right now, this is the beauty of Anthony as a Jets fan. It's the most hilarious thing. When Anthony loses, he is the most inconsolable, F the world, F the Jets, life sucks, society's horrible. And when they win, even though they are still 3-6, mind you, when they win, Anthony has now changed his background to be a picture of the Garrett Wilson catch with a big win symbol, and he is not paying attention to a word that we are saying because he is all in on the Aaron Rodgers train right now.
He is counting wins, plotting the road to the playoffs, the Super Bowl. He's dying.
He's checking his tickets for New Orleans. He's like, look, man, think I can make it there. Nice little train ride to New Orleans. I can make it there for the Super Bowl. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful
thing. Damn, you know it's really messed up. That sounded like a joke, but I was actually checking.
I bet you.
It wasn't a joke. We know you. We know you, Ed. We fully know what you're doing.
Every interview, and you are dreaming of a 6-game winning streak and a freaking dream ride to the Super Bowl.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about my vacation time. I was like, I was just remembering that my job actually opened up vacation times already for next year. I was thinking about putting in for it tomorrow.
Oh my God! Look, the Jets. This is a big win. This is a big win against a good Houston Texans team. I will definitely give some credit there. And Aaron Rodgers actually ran a little bit. He actually did some stuff with his feet, so that's hilarious. All right.
It's like Kanye Peppers.
Last game of the week, Monday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to Kansas City to play the undefeated Kansas City Chiefs on Monday night. The Chiefs are 8.5-point favorites in this game. I'll say this as a small tease. I just wish this game would have been a lot spicier if we were talking about Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers with a fully healthy Mike Evans, fully healthy Chris Godwin, fully healthy offense going into the Chiefs, who have struggled over the course of the year on offense, but have a really great defense. It would be a much better matchup. The Chiefs would probably still be favored, but I don't think it would be 8.5. But that said, the Chiefs are still undefeated. They're looking a little bit better. DeAndre Hopkins had his first game as a Chief. Did not look great. Did not put up any numbers, but he definitely seemed to unlock something with Travis Kelce, who had his best game of the season. So take that for what it's worth. We'll see what happens this week, but the Buccaneers are a tough fighting team that seems to always leave themselves in games whether they win or not. So Ace has the Buccaneers here. He's not locking this in. He's taking that 8.5 points and he's rolling with it. Ant, what say you?
I'm gonna lock this in. I don't know why Ace is not locking this in. Maybe because he's picking the wrong team. I'm gonna go with the New York. I'm sorry.
Wow. We're not editing this out. We're not editing that out.
Wow.
We're leaving that in it.
Okay, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm locking it in. This is my final lock of the week. The Kansas City Refs are going to keep on winning. Who knows? They might actually quite break the record. But as long as the refs are on their side, nothing is impossible.
I hate giving up this many points, but I'm going to roll with the Chiefs here as well. I'm locking this in. Yes, I'm going to lock this in.
Oh, I'm
as
taking it
well.
over. Sorry about that. Taking it over.
The Chiefs offense looks better than it's been, looked pretty good last week. Against who did they play last week? Was that the Raiders? Who did they play last week?
Yeah, Raiders, Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Yep.
Yes, they played Vegas last week. They scored 27 points. They won that game 27-20, and they were pretty much in control that whole game. This is a much better Buccaneers team than that Raiders team that they faced last week, but I think at home they're likely to just continue rolling and doing what they're doing. Honestly, I looked at their schedule earlier on this week, and aside from a road game, I'm not sure where it is. I think that they're likely to be favored in every single game the rest of the season. So I don't know what that means for their schedule. They're likely to lose a game at some point, but I don't think this is the one. Like I said, I wish Tampa Bay was a little healthier going into this game, but they're not. I like Baker Mayfield and his moxie and what he likes to bring to the table here, but I think this is just too much to ask for him against that Chiefs defense and a Patrick Mahomes team that's just starting to figure themselves out offensively. DeAndre Hopkins may have, another 100-yard game if he's gonna have a 100-yard game before we, if we're not careful here. So I'll take the Chiefs in the over, and I'm locking this in as well. Levon.
Yeah, I don't think Tampa Bay is going to sneak. Is going to sneak the Chiefs in prime time with everybody watching. If this was a 1:00 game on a Sunday, maybe you could see it because the Buccaneers have that kind of team, even though injuries hurting them right now. But now the Chiefs are not getting that first loss is not going to come on a primetime game with everybody watching and Andy Reid with all that time to prepare and put on a show. Patrick Mahomes, it's not going to come easy. It's not going to come in that way. They're going to shoot the fair one, and I got the Chiefs in this one.
All right, and that's it for all of our picks this week. So just a quick rundown of our locks. Ace is locking in the Dolphins, the Panthers, the Chargers, Commanders, Bears, and Colts. Ant is locking in the Bills, the Saints, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Rams, and the Chiefs. I am locking in the Bills, the Giants, the Titans, the Eagles, the Rams, and the Chiefs. And Levon is locking in the Ravens, Bills, Saints, Commanders, Jaguars, and Packers. All right, let's get into our shout outs before we roll up out of here. Levon, you got any shout outs you want to share?
Damn, I think I did, and I got distracted. But I'll go. Since I'm going first, I'll stay on cue. I want to shout out Ant. And fandom across the world and how it works. Because if I was him and the Giants snuck a win in Pittsburgh on Monday night, I'd be doing the same thing, listening to every post game, every pundit, every interview, looking who's next on the schedule, how we could get back in it. Is this going to turn things around? All of these ideas that are seeping back into his brain. He's forgotten about all of the misery prior to this one victory tonight. And that is why we watch sports, and that is why we love it. So shout out to sports, shout out to fandom, and shout out to my fellow New York brother over there who's rooting for a New York team that we were just cussing when this night started. We were both saying how New York football is at an all-time low, but good on the Jets and good on him.
All right, Ant. I think I know where your first shout out is going, but I'm gonna let you go anyway.
Shout out to the New York Jets for winning this game tonight. Shout outs to Woody. He needs to still go back to London no matter who wins the presidency. You need to become the ambassador. If you want to call yourself ambassador, go back there to London. Nobody cares about you over here. Oh, one of the shout outs I forgot to do last week. Shout outs to the Tribe Called Quest. They got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I believe it was last week. I forgot to mention that. And I had some more shout outs, but I kind of lost it, so kind of forgot. But anyway, I'm just gonna forget about it right now and just move on. Peace. Oh, shout outs to all the fans out there listening to this. Tell everybody about the show.
Yeah,
Peace
thank
out.
you for the downloads. We've been downloading pretty heavily over the last few weeks. I think it has something to do with the fact that I'm hosting and not Ace anymore, but I'm not gonna
Oh wow.
speak to that.
I guess they don't like the Aces. Welcome to the Uptown Parlay Podcast.
I might have to ask Ace to change the intro because he's got his dad's intro saying like now your host Ace, and he's not been hosting for the last 3 weeks now. So I might need him to edit that intro to say that I'm the host, but whatever, we'll see. Ace is out here, so I'll go ahead and give my shout outs. Um, shout out first and foremost to the New York Yankees. I know we lost the World Series. It was heartbreaking. I was watching every single game. I was on the edge of my seat for all of it. Look, I know when you play for a team in an organization in a city that expects championships, it is not like losing in the World Series in 5 games is not victory. Like it hurts. And for a lot of other teams, that's actually great. Getting to the World Series is actually a great thing. It's extra baseball, and you get an opportunity to do what you do. There's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up on this team. First and foremost, we got to re-sign Juan Soto. We got to figure out what that situation looks like. Got to bring him back, even though it seems like he's kind of oaring himself out to the rest of the Major League Baseball. But whatever, I digress. Got to figure out how they bring him back, or if we don't bring him back, got to figure out how to, supplement for his lack of for his production in there. Got to figure out the rotation. That's still up for suggestion, and got to figure out and Aaron Judge, you're gonna win the MVP. You're gonna win your second MVP in your career. You've got to figure out how to be good in the playoffs because they're going to continue to pitch you the way they pitch you. When you get to the playoffs, you know this. I'm speaking to the choir. I'm not saying anything that you don't already know. The way that they pitch you is the way that they know how to pitch you. And you made a lot of those mistakes, swinging at strikes, swinging at balls out of the strike zone that you did not swing at over the course of the season. So I don't know if it's nerves. I don't know if it's, just the pressure of the situation or whatever it is, but we've got to figure out a way. You've got to figure out a way to lead this team. You're the captain of the Yankees, and captains win championships, especially in the New York Yankees. But shout out to y'all for making it as far as you did. The Dodgers did what they had to do, handle business. I expect you guys to be back in the mix next year. We'll see what happens. Shout out to the New York Knicks starting the season, and particularly shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns. 44 points last night, and it wasn't just that he scored 44 points because Julius Randle has scored 44 points before as a Knick. It was the way he scored those 44 points. 3-pointers, taking the ball to the basket. Everything he put up there felt like it was going in. It was never every shot that he shot during that game against Miami last night felt like a shot that was on target, wasn't a bad shot. It wasn't one of those cringy, we're not sure if it's gonna happen, we're not sure if it's gonna go down type of shots. It felt like just a good shot from a good shooter, which I don't think we've felt from a big man like that in a long time in the New York Knicks uniform. So shout out to him. He had a huge game. And he's been balling, and the Knicks are still trying to figure out what the offense looks like, and whose night it's going to be. But they're being unselfish. They're playing well. They've played three really tough games against 3 Eastern Conference opponents who expect to be in the playoffs, and they're 2-2 at this point in the season. So you can't really say anything, but positive about them because that they're going to hit their stride at some point in time. So shout out to them for breaking in the season and doing what they got to do up to this point. Shout out to Bob Costas. He retired today as a MLB play-by-play voice. I didn't realize he had a 44-year career calling games, and he's retired. And although I never liked when he called Yankee playoff games because I always felt like we lost when he called them. But he was there calling the series against the Guardians this year. And when he was no longer calling the World Series, I definitely felt it. So shout out to him. Hope he's still, going to be doing something in calling games because he's had a very, very recognizable voice. And last but not least, from me at least, rest in peace to DJ Clark Kent. A hip hop great, one of my favorite producers in the history of hip hop. Produced some amazing tracks, some tracks that you guys may be familiar with off of Jay-Z's first album, Reasonable Doubt. He produced Brooklyn's Finest. He produced Cashmere Thoughts, which is probably one of my favorite songs ever. in addition to Friend or Foe, which was the introduction of Memphis Bleak to the world. But just a great hip hop mind, amazing hip hop storyteller, huge sneakerhead. The dude was just, he was hip hop royalty, and he will be missed. He passed away last Thursday at the age of 58 years old. So rest in peace to him. Ace, I saw you jump in there. Do you have any shout outs? Anything you wanted to say before we roll off? Going once?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out to all the parents who have kids in the NICU. I just got my son home from the NICU, so shout out to all of y'all who are dealing with some real stuff. And hopefully the show and the sports that we get to watch in the meantime throughout the fall and the winter are distractions to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And shout out to college
Absolutely.
football because I'm enjoying it. And I hope Army and Navy somehow end up playing in the college football playoff.
That's
That
probably
is
not going
it
to
for
happen.
me.
Probably
They're
not
still
going to happen.
undefeated.
They
Don't
are.
hate
They
on
are.
America, Malik. Don't
They
hate on
are.
America.
I'm not,
Mhm.
but I'm not. But you look. You know
And
how
shout
the
out to the
you know how
Yankees. They got to
you
the.
know how the polls are. You know how the polls are.
They're both ranked. Army
You
has
know
a
how the
game against
polls
Notre
get.
Dame. They could win, so we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I hope Ole Miss loses every game until the end of the season. I'm a
Mm.
big time hater of the University of Mississippi just because of their general vibe and their whole get down. And yeah, I'm gonna leave it on that note.
All right. Well, shout out to you, Ace. Shout out to the new baby. Shout out to the family. And we'll talk to you all next week. Good luck. Good luck making your bets this weekend. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the fun. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace out. Football is great.